Here are my 3 crazy dogs. You can see little Molly's kind of squished in the background there. Today we want to talk to you guys about the best ways to travel with a dog. Now, car travel is definitely the most common, and if you're going to travel in the car with your dog, a couple of pointers I wanted to mention. So you can see my dogs are sitting on a car seat cover here. I always recommend that. It definitely saves on the upholstery in your vehicle. I would also recommend either an anchored crate or some type of car safety harness. So you can pick up these dog seat belts. They look like this. One end clips to your dog's harness and the other end buckles right into a traditional seat belt buckle. Those are really cheap, very easy to find. A lot of car seat covers even come with them, and I definitely recommend that. It secures your pet and prevents them from becoming a projectile in the event of an accident or from getting injured in case, you know, God forbid you are in a car accident. You also should bring plenty of food and water. Think about how much your dog would eat during the time of your trip, and maybe add a couple of extra hours just in case. You never know when an emergency is going to happen and you're going to be caught and need some food and water. You also want to be prepared for emergencies. ID tags and microchips are a must no matter how you're traveling with your dog. If your dog, say you get in a car accident, your dog jumps out the window, or you're standing on the side of the road, you know, waiting for emergency personnel to arrive and your dog gets scared and runs away. You never know. So be prepared. ID tags, if your dog's microchip, that's great, but still have up-to-date ID tags on your pet. Always keep your dog on a leash at the same time. As I mentioned, if you're, you know, having to wait out on the side of the road for something, if you're stopped at a rest area, always keep your dog on a leash, because you just never know when they're gonna see something and chase after it, or, you know, become spooked and run off. Another tip that I have is to have the number of the emergency vet in the area that you're traveling to. That's always a plus, because you never know if you're gonna run into an incident while you're on vacation. Write down any medication information or important information about your dog's health that you might need sometimes if there's an emergency, especially if you're traveling. Hopefully you would be the one to take your dog to the vet, but if not, you'd have that information handy. And sometimes it can get really overwhelming if you're traveling and there's an emergency with your pet. You can't really remember everything, especially like names of medications and stuff like that. So have that stuff written down, and that would be great to have with your dog's other supplies like leash, harness, collar, food, water, that kind of stuff. You also want to allow for frequent stops. Of course, you're going to have to stop more often. Your dog's going to want to get out, stretch their legs, go to the bathroom, especially if you're bringing food and water like you should be. You're going to need to take regular bathroom breaks, so allow a little extra time for that. And bring games for your dog. Fetch, tug, chew toys, something that's going to help them burn a little bit of that energy on those stops, so that, you know, they're not just sitting in the car all day. The car can definitely be emotionally draining because there's so much stimulation, but some dogs, you know, they've got that pent up energy, and it's easier to get that out during a break than to have them bouncing around in the car. Extra energy can also cause them to like whine or bark in the car and be very distracting. So bring a couple of games with you. If you're not traveling by car, you want to make sure that you check the airline, bus, train, whatever you're taking. Check their guidelines before planning, and then check the hotel guidelines. If you're not staying with friends and family, hotels have some guidelines for pets too. So before you plan to do anything, check those out. Always be respectful. That's my last tip. No matter where you go, whether you're traveling down the street or you're traveling across the country, you always want to be respectful. Clean up after your dog. Make sure your dog stays quiet. You know, not everybody is a pet owner or a pet lover the way that we are, so keep that in mind, and just be cautious about that, to be respectful to all the other people that will be traveling at the same time that you are. So if you guys have any other questions about traveling with your pet, feel free to email me. Thanks for watching this video guide.